Hello there, it's Seun Salami here. Thank you for joining me once again for today's video. This is going to be one of my shorter YouTube videos. I just want to answer a question today. In one of the videos that I made about the advantages of long distance relationships, somebody put a comment there about pillow talk and phone sex. Now, why I said it's going to be a short video is this, because this is very straightforward, in my opinion. Now, if you call something phone sex, what does that mean? It's very simple. It means that it's an act of intercourse. Okay, I don't have the details of what goes on in each person's, what each person calls phone sex, right? But I want to believe that it involves a lot of stimulation, verbal stimulation. It involves some masturbation as well. It involves a lot of all these things. So you generate the emotions and the hormones that you produce in physical intercourse as well. Okay, and the results are the same. The same thing we say happens when people get involved in sexual intercourse physically. What happens to their relationship, how things begin to go in the relationship, and the fact that begins to cloud a lot of things. The same things happen when you engage in phone sex and all of these kind of things. It's about the same thing. The only difference is that you're not going to have the physical repercussions in terms of pregnancy or STIs and things like that. Okay, but what it does to your relationship is the same. Sometimes it can be even worse, because when you get used to something like that, what happens is that you begin to have a challenge with the real act itself. When you get used to that, you begin to have a problem with the real sexual intercourse, where you can't face someone anymore. You don't even know how to relate with your wife physically, in that sense. When you eventually get married, you guys just you become so accustomed to this over the phone kind of thing and all of that. So this is what I'm going to say about that. If you call it phone sex, it's sex. If you call it oral sex, whatever you name you want to give it, okay, as long as it is intercourse, I believe that it is sex. So as much as possible, you want to stop that. You want to have an open conversation with this person. If you guys are on the right track to getting married, I know how it is with long distance relationships. It can be very, very difficult. It can be extremely, extremely tempting, especially those lonely nights. And I've been there. I know what it is. So it's not like I'm talking from a place of you don't even know what we're talking about. I actually understand this a lot. But you must realize that if your final destination is marriage, most of the things that we do while we're single, we almost tend to believe that they go away after you dance at the wedding reception, and it clears away everything that you've done in your single years. It's a big lie. When you get into marriage, most of the things that you did when you were single, they're going to begin to show up in your marriage, and you will start seeing the repercussions of those things. Then you'll be wondering, where did this come from? Like, how did this happen, right? But because those things are just waiting, they're just waiting for you to get into marriage, and you will now begin to have challenges in so many areas that you will be wondering, how did this? And you just find out that things that other people enjoy, you don't enjoy it. People like to sit down with their wife in bed and talk for hours. You wonder, how do they do that? Like, I don't understand that, because you are used to something else. There's just like the way people get used to chatting in relationships, especially long distance relationships as well. It becomes a problem in marriage that people cannot sit down and look themselves in the eye and have a conversation, right? And that's a big problem. Okay, so as much as possible, you want to avoid that and keep things on conversations that are productive, conversations that are leading somewhere, conversations that are going to help your marriage when it eventually happens, that will help your relational skills, that will help the fact that you guys are going to be having difficult conversations that you have to sit down, and it's almost like sometimes you have conversations that it's almost like tears are welling up in your eyes, because you ordinarily you are the kind of person that doesn't like confrontations. You might be the kind of person that doesn't like confrontations ordinarily, right? But there are some issues in marriage that you will need to confront your spouse about, and you cannot avoid those. You can't start doing that by chat. You are here, your spouse is in the room, and you have to send a text. Here, can we talk? So I want to chat with you. What's that? I mean, it's ridiculous. Now this generation, it's getting so we're getting so much into this chatting business and this texting thing that we cannot even hold decent conversations anymore. You can't sit down with somebody that you want to get married to from Surrey Central SkyTrain station to New Westminster. You can't have a conversation. You are going to fight along the way, or something. It will descend into something frivolous, right? And just have open and honest conversations. So this is so important. Let's pay attention to this, right? I hope I've been able to answer that question. If and for me, it's just to advise you, man. I can't really tell you what to do with your life. My job is not to do that. My job here is just to present my own interpretations of situations and things, to tell you guys what I feel about some of these things, right? As much as possible, using my faith as a background to these things. So you might not agree with everything I say, but it's coming from a place. So if you and I have results in my own life to show for some of the sacrifices that I've made, and some of the mistakes I've made in my own past too. I've learned the hard way. So I put all those things together when I come up here to talk to you guys about some of these things. So you want to bear that in mind to be sure that I know that for guys it might be really difficult, but if you're looking towards getting married and you want your marriage to work, to be successful, there's some sacrifices you just have to make while you're single, and don't expose yourself too much to all of these things that become baggage when you get married. So I hope with these few points of mine I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you. Phone sex is indeed sex. Okay. Thank you for watching the video. You can like the video if you do, and I never say this, but if you don't like the video, you can also press dislike. It's okay. All right, and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so that you know when I've got a new video up. I always have new videos out on Fridays at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here in Canada, and on Saturday morning, that's the time difference translates to 5 a.m. on Saturday morning if you're in Nigeria. I'll see you again next week by God's grace. God bless you.